Walk it like I talk it. 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 Walk it like I talk it.
Hey, Bougie Gang, good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Where am I? Okay, there I am. Oh, good morning, guys. I'm sorry. I guess I had I don't know what I was thinking. I'm still a little bit out of it, even though I've been up, probably because I've been up since 5:30. Um, and then kind of up and down. So anyway, I had to let the dogs in. And then I was like, am I actually I saw the light was red. I'm like, did I actually go live? Did I turn it on already? And I didn't mean to. I think it was just reflex. So anyway, my bad, y'all. I didn't mean to keep y'all waiting for that long. But anyway, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. I did hear the bad news. One of the moms lost their mom, and it's sad. So I figured let's just talk about that real quick and then we will pivot. Okay. Um, but this mom's mom, she made herself known on the YouTube streets. And the times that I remember, so Strong Mommy Chrissy lost her mom over the weekend, and it's sad. I listened to the video and it was giving very familiar sets of circumstances because when I lost my mom, she was in and out the hospital a lot. She was in and out the hospital a lot. So hearing this video reminded me of those, any of you guys who've ever, I can't even imagine any other way. I feel like for me, I had the grace of knowing that my mom was, she was at a certain age, and not even so much that the age mattered, but her medical conditions put her, you know, we went through our journey, you know what I'm saying? And it wasn't so much anticipated, but it was just part of the journey. I can only imagine how shocking it is for people who it's all of a sudden illness, some sort of accident, some sort of out of the clear blue is absolutely hard to imagine. But she's telling in this video about the challenges that her mom was having, and that she had been in and out of ICU. And because, she had moved away, her brothers were kind of first call for the hospital. So these last couple of situations, she wasn't getting notified as early, you know what I mean? Like she wasn't first call. So they would call one of the boys, the brothers, before her. So she was kind of last to find out certain things, right? Um, so very, very, very sad. But my memories of Miss Cassie were during the pandemic when Chrissy moved to Houston, and mom was in Houston, and we would hear, for me, I felt like I would hear her voice more than I would see her, Sometimes we would see an arm, and sometimes she would just be co-signing if Chrissy was going off about something. Um, when the whole girl, why can I never remember that man's name? The man who came from Plenty of Fish. Um, don't tell me, guys. Girl, the situation. And Chrissy was in the bathroom on live with her mother, and she was going off. And her mom was there. Okay. Um, and it seems like I guess that's her only daughter. And there is nothing like losing your mom. It's absolutely horrific. Um, it's like a smack in the face, like it's like a left-handed smack in the face uppercut, you know. Um, I feel bad for her. He seems very sad. She's crying. She's still going with the and her husband. I don't know who her husband is. I don't know if it's DeMarcus over there, but baby, she she doesn't mention him enough. And then she conveniently throws the man in. I don't know, but she's still sticking to the husband story. But she said that, so this video right here, it appears that she is coming from, so this seems like this was Saturday. She also talks about notifying the kids. She told the three oldest that she was gonna keep them up to date. So number 1 and 2. So Cadence and Kingston wanted to know. Kaya said, "Don't tell her till you tell everybody else." And then, so when I guess everything happened on Saturday, she told Cadence. She said her husband stayed home from work or something to help. I don't know what's going on, but let's listen to a little bit. It is sad. If you've ever been in this situation before, it's going to seem very familiar, especially if you had to do multiple trips back and forth to the hospital and all of that. It's sad. I don't think there's anywhere where, I think she was in her young 70s, I think she says. And you guys, 70, if you're in pretty good health, you still have a long way to go. 70 is not nearly long enough. I know if you're 20 years old right now, you might be thinking, oh my God, that's a long time. It's really not. 70 is the 70 gonna creep up on you real quick in the blink of an eye. And it's never long enough, you know. Um, you could just see the sorrow in her face. I do feel really bad for her and her family, what they're going to have to go through. Um, just the times when you have the missed conversations, or I never got advice about that, or I forgot to talk to her about this, or yes, she was trying to tell me about this or that, and I didn't. She might not have that, but some of us do, who didn't get to have certain conversations or know about this, that, and the third. And some people, I was watching something on Instagram where some people have very different feelings about what I'm expressing right now. They're like, everybody didn't have good parents. Some people, I'm not speaking to those. If you've had a horrible, if this mom conversation is not resonating with you at this moment because you feel opposite, it's okay. This portion of the live may not be for you, because it just probably won't, the sentiments that I'm expressing, because everybody didn't have amazing relationships with their moms. So because I saw something on Instagram. It was very strange. Some people were kind of, they were sharing their thoughts and sentiments about relationships with their moms. And girl, the comments were in shambles of people who had opposite reactions, and it was bad. 33 passed away when I was 20. I remember this. It's very sad, right? you know it's never enough time. I always just say I'm grateful. I'm at a place right now, having lost my mom, that I am grateful for what I had, even though I would have loved to have had more. I'm so grateful because of people who share the I was 20, and I remember going to, I think I've told you guys this many times, when I was about 12, maybe. I think we were in 6th grade when a neighbor, 2 blocks away, my mom was real good friends with her, and me and my friend were born like a month apart. and my parents and her parents had moved to the neighborhood. They were both pregnant at the same time. And me and this girl grew up together. I knew her mom. She's like a second mom. And she died suddenly of cancer when we were like 12 years old or something. It was awful. And I've never forgot that. But I, you know, like I said, I've never taken it for granted having my mom. You know what I mean? Because I've met people in my journey of life who lost their moms early, and I've always been super grateful that I had mine. So Chrissy is going through it. She lost her mom on Saturday. I guess she had some sort of kidney failure. It wasn't, and she was things were not going well. This is really, I feel bad for her. I do, but she'll get through it. Look at this. It's the agony. She's obvious. She's mad at her brothers right now. Her brothers were not Johnny on the spot calling, but most men don't. And also when you're in the middle, I was at the hospital when my mom coded one particular time, and she lived a long time after it. But if you have never been in the hospital to witness a coding, it is an outer body experience. Um, I just remember my mom's NG tube kept backing up, backing up, backing up. It wasn't filtering, and they had a NG tube into her chest pulling out fluid, right? So her NG tube kept backing up. It wasn't doing what it was supposed to do. Anyway, her room, thank God, was right outside the nurse's station. So I went, I'm like, her NG tube is, it's suctioning. It's not, and it was clogging. It was doing something weird. So she came, she fixed it. Anyway, long story short, like 10 minutes later, the machine started going crazy. She started coding. They called respiratory therapy, everything. I just remember trying to dial my phone so fast. I called my sister. My sister was here from California, from LA, and well, not here, but in New Jersey at the house, and our house was right up the street from the hospital. So I was calling my sister. It was like 1 o'clock in the morning. I had just flown in from North Carolina. And basically I came in, said hi to everybody. Everybody left. I was like, I'll spend the night in the hospital. I had just got in, my bags were at the hospital. And I said, I'm just going to stay here with mom. I'll go home in the morning and, take a shower and get dressed and everything. I'll stay with her. Right. Thank God, because not to say that the hospital would have let her go, but they do. Trust me, you have someone who's very ill, they advocate and rally more when you're there versus when you're not. Okay. Even if you have a directive on file, um, period. I'm going to stop right there. Anyway, she made it for some years after that. Some long years, because she actually, was able to come to my wedding and all of that kind of stuff. So, but yeah, her mom was in the hospital. She said 2 times this past week, and I'll just
It just
sad.
doesn't matter. It don't matter. You never ready to get that phone call.
They're so true.
And my mom, she had kidney disease. And she's been on dialysis for like 8 years. That's a long time to be on dialysis.
I'm surprised they never got her a kidney transplant. And I know you can be on the list for a long time. I don't know if maybe she was not a candidate for it. Um, but yeah, and she was, that's a long time
Dialysis. And
to be on dialysis.
All of those things just play a factor in everything. I mean, it's one of those things that you just like, it's not going to be forever, but you just, So she's been sick. She had pneumonia, but I don't know. There's a lot of things running through my mind.
When I heard her say pneumonia, you know how often Chrissy gets pneumonia? Chrissy gets pneumonia like once a year. I don't know. There are people out here who, I don't know why. Maybe she's got asthma. I'm not sure, but she seems to always be treated like some people will never get pneumonia in their life. Okay. I've seen Chrissy with at least 4 to 5 bouts of pneumonia since I've been watching her channel. But yeah, pneumonia in the hospital for a person of a certain age with a compromised system and, kidney disease and all that, you're on dialysis, that's rough.
But so I'll have to at a later time maybe put everything together because I'm literally ready to crash out right now. But right now, here's how I'm feeling immediately. My mom's been in the hospital since Monday. And my brothers, they live in the city. I live in the mountains, so I'm about an hour and a half away. And so, I feel like I don't know. I have a lot of shit on my mind right now. But
oh, it's already on, girl.
Thank y'all for y'all condolences. But my brothers live in the city, so they were closer, during this whole process. She was in the hospital for a couple of days, and I didn't know she was in the hospital. Strike number one.
That was shocking to me that she was in the hospital since Monday. And I don't know how many days it was for her to find out, but maybe they didn't want to, there's always someone in the family who is totally like, duh, about what's going on. But you also have to be super clear. Like, if something's happening, I want to know everything as soon as it's happening. You know what I mean? Some people, you got to just tell them, you need to call the minute if mom gets admitted, if mom goes on the ambulance, anything, call me, right? Because everyone's got different levels of knowledge and everyone's got different levels of, oh shit. And it seems like Chrissy was more aware than the brothers, because maybe she had been taking care of her mom longer. I'm not sure, but they did not let her know initially mom was at the hospital.
Nobody called me, and I had called her a couple of times. But, sometimes my mom's schedule and we miss each other, but we'll catch back up, so it's not usually a big deal. But if she's in the hospital, they know they used to have my number to call me first, but since I moved further away, we changed it because my brothers live closer, which makes more sense because I have kids. I'm an hour and a half away. If there's an emergency, they need to be contacted first because they live within close driving distance. So, but yeah, nobody called me. Strike number one. I'm about to fucking.
That's gonna bother her for a long time. If she's got strained relationships with her brothers, baby, that's gonna be. You know how there's always something that happens at the funeral or the memorial service, baby. This is going to be a bone of contention for many, many years to come. I'm the duh. My family leaves me out of everything and it pisses me off. So you're not the duh. I'm talking about somebody who is willfully like they don't know anything because they don't want to know anything. Not to say they don't care, but they're just not, they're completely clueless. Even when you try to call them and it's just like, oh, okay, I'll be there this weekend type stuff. But yeah, there's always the aspect of being overlooked and underinformed type thing, but you got to let them know. Sorry for her loss. I understand why she felt the need to bring this to the internet. I think it's a good thing to talk about. People don't talk about death and death. There's some topics that are taboo. Why they're taboo? If people can get on here and talk about yeast infections and butt plugs and all the weird, freaky shit they talk about on this internet, can we not talk about a process that will happen to everybody? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't see anything wrong with it. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody is going to die and everybody has experienced death. and everybody is going to know someone that's going to pass away. And I think it's something that's not talked about enough. I think that's something that if people talk about it a little bit more, it'll make people less afraid of their journey, and also be able to grieve in a way that allows them to pass through the pain and to remember the good times, and get support. Clearly this woman may not have the support that some of us have around us. So for her to come to the internet, that tells me a couple of things. She may not have the support. She got a bunch of kids. We don't know if she has a husband or not. Word on the street is, baby, it's not the case. She just lost her mom, which I think is like her bestie. And then the brothers are baby, they're being men who were not um like, oh yeah, mom died. Like, oh hey, yeah, a couple of hours ago. Um and they could be dying and crying and upset on the inside, but men process things differently, and I don't know. Her mom had to get a blood transfusion. That actually changes the antibiotics in her blood. That will cause a delay in getting the kidney transplant. I waited 14 years for one. Oh wow. Okay. Yeah, I know someone who had one not too long ago. And their process was quick. It was somewhat quick. Let me say somewhat. We're talking about single digit years and less than 5. And process went very well and all of that. So, my mom will be 87 in June. I live 5 hours away from my family. Knows that if mom sneezes the wrong way, call me. Absolutely, right? Um it sounds like, yeah, I think it probably is giving busy, different priorities, and got out here. And look, if the brothers, look, this is not the first time we've heard Strong Mommy Chrissy having issues with the brothers not showing up to help mom move. You know what I'm saying? Like, it seems like, let's just say, communication breakdowns. Okay. She gave a lot of family tea up. Is that what you mean, CM? She was talking, she's mad. She's angry. The brothers,
Strike number one. Strike number one.
is that what you're talking about, hun?
But y'all tell me if I'm fucked up. If I'm fucked up, okay, maybe I'm just emotional because my mother just passed away this morning. That's probably part of it. I'm very volatile right now. But I think logically. So nobody called me. I didn't know. Wednesday, I get a phone call from my brother.
Yeah, she's mad. Look, I think this is just what I think. This may or may not be actual. Chrissy had her mom's affairs, I think, in her hands, right? Chrissy was like chief caregiver, right? Or chief, she was first call on the list once upon a time, right? Chrissy made a decision. She lives an hour and a half away. She allowed the brothers to take over first call, right? And look what happened. Not to say that mom wouldn't have passed anyway, but at the end of the day, you had other priorities, which I'm sure it's not like she had other priorities. And look, I'm going to say it like this because I don't know her. She had other priorities, and she decided the boys became first call. She articulated on a couple of occasions she needed a break. I'm sure her mother understands, baby, you got 9 kids, go handle your business, all of those things, right? I don't know, girl. It sounds very much, she's mad, and I think she probably has some regrets of not maintaining her role as the daughter. and handling her mom's business and then allowing the brothers and being last on the list to be notified.
He said, listen, mom's in the hospital. She's been in the hospital since Monday. Again, bitch, struggling. I don't appreciate that shit. Okay. And she was very alert and just being like, they were trying to get a CPAP mask on her because she was having problems breathing. And my mom is claustrophobic. My mom is very claustrophobic. She don't like shit on her face, bruh. And she was like, nah, you're not finna put that mask on me. Like, I don't want that. And so my brothers, they try to convince her, the nurses and doctors, they could not convince her. And they were like, listen, if you don't put this mask on, you finna die today. And so she was like, no, like, get me out of here. I don't want to be here. I don't want to be here. And so finally, my brother calls me. He's like, listen, you got to talk to mom, tell her to put this mask on. I say, okay, because I know she'll listen to me. Sometimes she'll listen to them. Sometimes she's like, and it takes me to come in and save the day. So I didn't even address the fact that why the fuck is my mom in the hospital for 2 days? And you motherfuckers didn't call me, bro. But I love my brothers. I'm not argumentative. I don't, cause a lot of, whatever. But I will fuck a motherfucker up and cuss a motherfucker out if I feel disrespected. That's the only time I get out of line. But in the moment, that wasn't priority. The priority was my mother. So, I'm on the phone. My other brother is at the hospital. The one who's calling me, he's working. We're all just kind of coordinate. By the time they get me on the phone, my other brother had finally just put the mask on, like, you gotta have this, calm down, you gotta have this. So they kind of got it figured out. Okay, fast forward. My mom went into cardiac arrest yesterday morning. And I had just called up there the day before I went up there. And then, she was stable. She was still alert, able to talk, uncomfortable.
Let me tell you, when you have a mom or a parent, so a loved one who's in a compromised position, baby, I'm telling you, you will have the regrets. If you had the opportunity to drop what you're doing, if you had the opportunity, if you don't have the opportunity, financially, you got issues, you don't have support, you got kids, your job is in your ass. You got to make decisions. You know what I'm saying? It's rough. It's rough when someone really, really, really needs you. But I'm sure, I don't know. I'm sure this was definitely coming from a certain place.
Left. She said, I called back last night and I talked to the nurse and I was like, listen, do you think I need to come back tonight? What is it looking like? Get her medical update. And she's like, no, I think you can send me on bed. I think, she's going to be fine until the morning, whatever. So in the morning, I do get the kids ready for school. Mind you.
She said, I think she's going to be fine until the morning.
She's going to be fine. What is it looking like? Get her medical update. And she's like, no, I think you can send me on bed. I think, she's going to be fine until the morning, whatever. So in the morning, I do.
She's going to be fine. I would be like, she's going to be fine until the morning. What does that mean? Girl, I would have been like, pyong. She's going to be fine until the morning.
Get the kids ready for school. Mind you, Junebug's birthday was Friday and Blaze's birthday. So Junebug's birthday was yesterday and Blaze's birthday was Thursday. So, trying to vlog, I'm trying to get the kids together. I'm trying to wrap gifts. I'm trying to get, I'm trying to get the kids straight, Meanwhile, I'm trying to support from afar because I know my brothers are there, to be there on a regular, consistent basis. They're tag teaming, being there, and I'm calling, we're just kind of all making it work. So then yesterday morning, I speak to her nurse, who I really, really like her. She was very, very thorough. We had a really good conversation. I asked her the questions, and I'm all over the place. But the night before, my mom called me, and I said, Mom, she was still able, she didn't lose her mental. How some people, they get sick, they get delirious and stuff like that. My mom was on a lot of medications, but she was still very mentally there. Her body was tired. Her body was tired. She was there, She called me the night before all of this happened yesterday, before she went to cardiac arrest. And I said, Mom, I've been calling up there, I'm checking on you. I love the team because my mom was very particular about don't let these motherfuckers kill me. Don't you let these motherfuckers kill me. They know I've been here a lot and they start not to give a fuck, whether I live or die. And I started saying, I know I'm on their ass, Mom. I assure you, I'm on their ass. Ain't nobody doing nothing. My brothers are there. I'm like, they there and I'm here. We gonna make sure you take care of. And then she was like, she said, I am uncomfortable. And she said, I am hungry. And she's like, they have not fed me anything since I've been here.
Well, because mom is in ICU, isn't she? If mom is in ICU, they're not bringing food trays to ICU. By the time you're getting a food tray, they got you in a step down unit. You are on a drip. You're on nutrition and you're on electrolytes. You're on 2 drips. You got a nutrition drip and you have electrolytes. Okay. They're not bringing you food. They might bring you some applesauce and some ice chips and things like that. You're not eating. Yeah. Yep. Danny, she passed away Saturday.
And I know, like, that sounds fucked up, but I feel like when I did ask about it, they were just like, she's having too many breathing issues at the time for her to safely, like, really consume anything without her levels dropping to, like, death levels, So, she's just like, my stomach hurts really bad and I really need something, right? And I was like, okay, then she's like, I also have some questions. And I was like, okay, let me write down your questions, Mom. What questions do you have? I will find out for you. And she's just like, I want to know what my prognosis is. She's like, I want to know if I'm going to make it home. She said, I want to know, about different things with dialysis and different things. And I wrote them all down. I said, I'm going to find out for you and I'm going to let you know, right? So she's like, okay, I'm tired of talking now. I said, okay, just get some rest and I'll be over there tomorrow. So the morning comes and I get, this Blaze's birthday. This is Thursday. And, or was it Thursday or Friday? No, that was Thursday night. I can't remember, my days are mixed up. Anyway, long story short, the next morning, that's when I talked to her nurse. We had a long conversation. I asked all of the questions that my mom had. And the nurse was honest with me and said, I'm concerned about her. She is really sick, but we're going to try to treat, the issues that we can treat and see what happens, essentially. And I was like, okay. An hour later, I get a phone call from her.
I mean, why aren't they? So it sounds like, so she said that she had pneumonia. She was already on dialysis, so I wonder if her kidneys have completely failed at this point. And she doesn't have to tell us everything, but it's when they're saying really sick, I mean, I guess we'll never know unless she like tells us everything, but it sounds like obviously there's more going on than what we actually know.
Her doctor, and her doctor says, hey, I know
She
you just
also
talked to
had
the nurse.
heart failure.
We want to put a breathing
Wow,
tube
poor
in because she's having
thing.
problems breathing still, and the CPAP mask is just not doing enough. And she's vocalized that she's still short of breath and still having problems breathing.
So they needed to intubate
not
her.
able to get a hold of my brothers. At the time, I had just talked to one of them, and he said he was about to get dressed and then, run an errand and then go to the hospital. My other brother, I don't know where the fuck he was at. I couldn't get a hold of him at that time. The hospital couldn't either because I'm the last one they called. My brothers were the first ones. Remember that, because I'm further away. So if they called me, they couldn't get in touch with them. They had to call somebody. So they called me and she's telling me they want to put in a breathing tube. They want to vent her because her body's struggling. I say, okay. And in the middle of that, I hear them calling code in the background. She said, oh, they're calling me for your mom. I gotta call you back. She hangs up the phone. 10 minutes later, I get a phone call from another doctor. He says, unfortunately, this is yesterday. Unfortunately, your mother's heart has stopped. Unfortunately, her blood pressure dropped too low and her heart stopped. We are going to follow the what she wished in her chart, which was to revive her at all costs. We're attempting CPR. We'll do that for 5 to 10 minutes and we'll see what happens. If we can get her jump started, we'll put her on a vent. I said, okay, I'm on my way. I'm calling my brothers, and they ended up getting in touch with them too. I call my brother and I'm like, I'm on my way. I get there. She's already vented. But she's twinging. Like, she heard us there, First of all, I don't wish that pain on nobody. I don't wish that pain on no fucking body. I wish nobody that pain. I'm seeing their parent in the hospital like that. That is not my mom. I can't tell her, but I was like, she wouldn't like this position they got her in because she was on her back. And my mom never liked to be on her back. She liked to be like on the side. And I said, she wouldn't like this position. But anyway, I spent all day there yesterday talking to doctors with my brothers, and stuff like that, just going through the motions. They had her stable. Whatever that means at this point, she was medically alive with everything in the book. But I'm grateful because I was able to come and say, hey, Mom, I love you. Whatever. My brother that we couldn't get in contact with for a few hours, I guess he was doing some things and shit, whatever. And we finally got in contact with him. He was already there when I got there. So, that worked out. Finally in the evening, I was like, okay, I gotta go home now because, my husband was there with me too. So I was like, he met me from work.
Her husband what?
Yeah, I gotta go home now because my husband was there with me too. So I was like, he met me from work at the hospital. So we were all there, and then I was like, okay, well, I gotta go feed the kids and stuff. It seems like nothing's really gonna change between now and tomorrow. So I'll come back tomorrow, either before the boys' party, because the boys have a birthday party today, this evening. And I was like, I'll either come before or I'll come after, depending on what's going on. And he said, okay, I think you'll be good. He's like, I'm gonna be up here. I'm gonna stay up here, and with me and him and my other brother, we're gonna coordinate, like, switch off, tag team. But so somebody's there with her the whole time. I said, okay, fine. I go home, y'all. And
why didn't the brothers call the husband? If the husband actually exists, why didn't the brothers? You couldn't get a hold of Chrissy. Why didn't they call your man and say, get Chrissy down here ASAP? She needs to come. I mean, I'm sorry. Your mom is coding the she's in complete renal failure. She coded, they have her intubated and all of that. That's the time to come with a blanket and a pillow, and you got to camp out. Like, I know you got 9 kids at home, but what, I mean, what about the husband? The husband who's the doctor, allegedly. You know, I not even that he had to intervene, as far as just, you got teenagers at the house who can keep up with the little kids. It happens, you know what I mean? Um it's unfortunate. I feel bad for her because there's never going to be a perfect scenario when someone that you love passes away, and there's always going to be a situation where something didn't happen right at a certain point, and it's best to just let those details go. It's because you can't bring the person back.
And we do dinner, feed the kids, I take a shower. I'm exhausted. I'm mentally exhausted. I'm physically exhausted. I'm emotionally exhausted. I'm just exhausted. And so I take a shower, I go to bed, and I forget to put my phone on the charger. And if you know me, you know my phone's ain't charged. I try not to let my phone never goes dead. Like, I try not to let my phone go
Okay,
dead
but
for
what about your husband? Why couldn't they call him?
multiple reasons like this, for reasons of my kids.
Doesn't Cadence have a phone? Doesn't Unc have Cadence or Kingston's number? Why would Unc not call the big kids? The big kids knew. You told us the big, I mean, look, I'm just saying, there's thing just to remember, have, you know what I'm saying? We all are siblings. I mean, I know my siblings have my daughter's phone number. They got my husband's phone number. There's more than one way, to reach out, right? Um, I'm just surprised that the uncles didn't have other numbers. Your husband, that's scary. You, if you don't have mom or dad anymore, doesn't your siblings have your husband or your boo thang's phone number and your kids' numbers? So everybody, if there's an emergency, can get a hold. I'm not just talking about Chrissy at this moment, I'm just talking about in general. And if not, think about it, and if you're someone who likes to change your number a lot, just remember, if there's an emergency, people can't get a hold of you. So people need to have all your numbers. And to me, I consider all my numbers mine, my husband, and my daughter, right? And or vice versa. My husband having my sister's and my brother's number. You know what I'm saying? So I think she's going through that phase. She's going through that phase where it's a lot's probably going through her head. And this is normal. This isn't just strong mommy Chrissy. This is normal type behavior, when you lose somebody, just all of the questions and the woulda, shoulda, couldas and all of those things. So but she says she fell asleep, didn't charge her phone. Her phone was off. I'm
It's
put
just
like
whatever.
that.
Like, I always keep, if I don't, if I'm not at home, I keep a power bank on me, my phone plugged in right now. Like, I try to keep my phone charged. So I was so tired last night. I went in bed and I put my phone on the bed with me, and I fell asleep and my phone died in the middle of the night. I wake up, I put my phone at 8:30.
Okay, Nancy, or happened without me. I would have called a couple of the other moms. If I had other kids coming, I would need to call all the other moms and say, I need you to stand in, or it would be canceled. Or call your home girls, the other moms, and say, I need for you to stand in. There's an emergency and I don't want the kids to not have a good time and everything's already paid for. I would have called a couple of the moms to see if they could come and help me out, of the guests, the other kids coming.
It was call my brother. My brother calls me and tells me, yeah, mom died. I'm like, wait, my brother night. I went in bed and I put my phone on the bed with me, and I fell asleep and my phone died in the middle of the night. I wake up, I put my phone at 8:30, I put my phone on the charger. First thing I do is call my brother. My brother calls me and tells me, yeah, mom died. I'm like, when? And he says, hold on. He said at 7:57 this morning, and he said, we were trying to call you, obviously couldn't get you. And I was like, yeah, I'm sorry, my phone was
Why didn't they call your husband? Why didn't they call the kids?
My phone was dead. I was asleep. And I said, I'm throwing my clothes on right now, and I'm coming. I'm on my way. And, I get up, I get my clothes on, I hop in the car, I get halfway there, and I tell him, I say, I'm 30 minutes away. Is she still in the room? And he says, no, they moved her already. Hold on, y'all.
Look, she had to do what she had to do, but I'm sorry, I would have stayed. I would have been there since, like, she's intubated, baby. That was your time. I'm not look, from a hospital point of view, that last 12 hours, that was your time to sit there, reconcile, have a chat, do all the things. Um, that was your time. That was your time. When her heart stopped and they got her back going, there's only but so much those machines can do. Once it is completely non-viable, or they are also checking to see, is she even alive in there? Is it the machines? Is it more the machines than her? And whatever her medical directive is, baby, that was your time. Well, that's possible. The brother, everyone doesn't know like hospital. So it's quite possible they could have said, hey, my sister's on the way. She'll be here in 30 minutes. Can you wait? It's not like they were trying to and they could have been trying to flip the room for more patients. If the census was high, they're waiting for beds. I mean, ma'am is deceased, right? If they call it, I'm sure they have a certain protocol, but it could be something, if you don't ask, they don't, or they could put her in a step down room, move her, take her off all the machines and move her to a different room. Because, those ICU rooms are precious. And there's someone downstairs in the emergency room or coming from surgery whose life they're trying to save. And you've got someone who's already now deceased. So they got to kind of move things along. You know what I mean? Just from a perspective of continuous care for the people that they can save. That's, you know what I mean? So they might move someone to a different room, just like a family type room situation where you have a minute and then they'll take them down to the morgue. But it's possible the brothers didn't ask. You know what I mean? Maybe they didn't know, not to be like insensitive to their sister, but some don't. Some people, the doctor comes in and they're like, okay, thank you, and that's it. And then you got some people that got 11 questions and and are advocates. And it's not to say the brothers aren't advocates, but some people are more versed on how to manage those situations versus others, right? If that hasn't been your job. Yes, they move you quick. It's time. It's, you know what I mean? It's time to go. Um, yeah. I mean, they're going to follow protocol. If you've got a nurse who sees you guys are coming, and oh, she's on the way, okay, no problem. To avoid a crash out in the hospital, absolutely. Girl. It's something that when you experience, for some people, like, this is a real hard conversation right now, but it's going to happen, and at the end of the day, it's something that if you can soldier through it, you'll never regret it. It's a privilege. It's a privilege. And would you want to be alone? You know what I'm saying? um
They say no. They already moved her, and I just sat there on the phone in silence. I'm on the highway going 85 in a 75. I just was like, bruh, why you let them move her before I got there? I told you I was coming. I just wanted to, I just wanted to see her before they took her. And I know I'm further away, but everybody in that unit knows me. This is my mom's second time in ICU in 2 weeks. They know me. I call up there. I call up there every hour. All of them know me, and they know I have kids and they know that I'm far. And I tell them, I just feel like, I don't know. I know there's some things you can't control, but I just was like, bro, why did you let them move her? So he's like, well, I don't know. They were rushing it, whatever. And so he's just like,
He may not have known to ask. If you don't ask, sometimes they're not gonna. If they say, okay, the family requested an additional hour, or they asked for some more time. There's a couple of family members still on the way. They'd like to, say their last goodbyes. Girl, you can also get time by saying, can you bring the chaplain upstairs? And the chaplain running around everywhere. So that's gonna take an hour for the chaplain to arrive to the room. Or just can you do an extra long, get an extra long prayer. Okay. And then, okay, we got our pastor coming. They know the pastor's coming. You ask for the chaplain, baby. I'm helping somebody right now. You need some extra time. Your family member just deceased, and you feel like they're trying to kind of move y'all along. Tell them the pastor's on the way, and just turn and say, can you please page the chaplain, please? Girl, if it's midnight too, baby, they're gonna have to get him out of bed, him or her. They're gonna have to drive over. They won't do anything. You know what I mean? Ask for the chaplain.
Whatever. So he's like, well, I have his number. You can call. I called the number. It's the nurse's station. I already got that fucking number. I didn't realize it at the time, because then I started freaking out because, just handle this shit with care, my nigga. Like, do me how I would do it. Do me how you would want yourself to be done, bro. And he's like, oh.
So we don't hold remains unless the family asks. The brother may not have been aware to ask. You know what I mean? That's common. He may not have known. So he was probably just listening to what they were saying, and and probably also in shock.
Oh, it was already done. We were trying to call you, my nigga. We tried to call my other brother for 3.5 hours yesterday. You know what I'm saying? And it's just. So I called the nurse line, and he was like, yeah, we just moved her about 10 minutes ago. So she's in the morgue. There's nothing we can do. And I just broke down. I've been a fucking mess since. And then I called my brother back, and I'm like, bro, they moved her. I can't see her. And I really was trying to make it there, so I could see her. I know I saw her yesterday. I'm grateful for that. But I also wanted to see her before they move her. I was trying to make it. And another thing that I forgot that I wanted to mention to you guys that I thought was like kind of quirky of my mom, and I want to remember it before I get into how I just got upset with my brothers. But
she's always upset with her brothers.
Yesterday morning, that's what's crazy. It went from I spoke to her on the phone yesterday to the doctor calling me talking about her breathing tube, to her coding and her heart stopping, to them bringing her back and putting her on a vent, from her being on a vent for 12 hours and then her dying this morning. I just, what the fuck? What the fuck has been the last 24 hours? I don't even know. I don't even know what's going on. The fuck? I don't know what's going on. So, yesterday morning, before I talked to the nurse, that's what I forgot to say. Before I talked to the nurse, my mom called me again. She just called me yesterday, and I said, Mom, how are you doing? Yeah, I'm about to call. And the nurses, I'm taking care of the kids, getting them ready for school, but I'm gonna be up there. But I'm gonna call the nurse right now. What's going on? She called me during the shift change, which is kind of difficult to get a hold of nurses and doctors and stuff during that time. But she was like, I'm not doing good. I don't feel well. My stomach hurts so bad. I'm hungry. I said, okay, let me call my brother. And I said, hold on. So I called my brother, and he's like, okay, Mom, what do you want to eat? I'm gonna bring you something, right? We don't even know if she can eat right now, but we're gonna try to do something. I said, can you bring her some food? Can you bring her some broth? Can you do something? Because she's hungry. And so he's like, Mom, what do you want? What do you want to eat? She said, I want some soup with not a lot of stuff in it, and I want a pear on the side. And I just thought it was interesting. She said a pear of all things, but she's like, yeah, I want a pear on the side of that, but I want some soup, but not a lot of stuff in it, because like my mom don't like a lot of ingredients in her soup, so mostly broth. He's like, okay, all right, I'm about to get dressed, and I'm gonna bring it up there. And then that's after that everything went crazy. But here's where I'm upset. Correct me if I'm wrong. Let me know. I'll read the comments in a minute. That's the last time we talked. That's the last time I spoke to my mother. So at least that'll be a memory that I have that I can laugh about at some point. But so I call my brother back, fast forward, and I say, bro, at this point I'm heartbroken, even more so. I'm like, I knew, I think at first they thought I was upset because she died. And I'm like, I am upset because she died. I'm more upset because y'all niggas didn't put your foot down and say, my sister is coming. Please wait an hour.
Everybody is not an advocate. Everybody does not feel empowered at the hospital to ask certain questions. Some people just kind of like, this is what they said, this is what they told me. I see people all the time with, especially when my parents were ill, and not necessarily advocating, just moving like sheeple. And at the end of the day, they're just going with what the doctors are telling them. And they're just sitting there clueless. They don't know what the fuck is going on. They don't really have any medical knowledge. They're not really following the case. And it's unfortunate. Sometimes it works out. Sometimes it doesn't, and there's questions that could have been asked and things that could be done. Some people just don't ask. So Chrissy can't expect that her brothers were going to do what she would do. And they don't necessarily know the case. They don't know what they're being told something, and they're probably like, okay, I don't know. You know what I mean? She's expecting her brothers to be her.
I think they could have done that. I know they probably trying to clear her out of the way and not whatever. I know, I get it. They don't give a fuck. This is their job, but you are my brothers. I expect you to put your foot down for me, advocate for
I don't know.
me.
It's too late now.
Here's another issue. They said, once I got home, once I left, that she was, having issues.
Right. There's a big difference with asking the medical professionals, the people on the job, hey, can we do this? Hey, can I have that? Hey, I just noticed something. Hey, can you come to the room? Excuse me. Or doctor, this, that, and the third. I noticed this. Or can you explain to me? Or give me some information. I need to know about this, that, and the third. What is really going on?
As I left.
Is she going to make it through the night? When the person said she's going to be okay until the morning, was that, in other words, she's going to make it through the night? Like, I would have had to ask a follow-up question on that one. She'll be okay till the morning. Then they told you, like, we don't expect her to make it through the night. Like, after that, it's going to be a wrap. But I can tell you from my personal experience, a lot of you guys are sharing your personal experiences. I was told on 3 occasions that my mother would not make it through the night, and baby, she lived like 10 more years. So sometimes that's what having a blanket and a pillow and staying in the room and having eyes all night long will do, because that round the clock, family on the spot, family not leaving, coming every 30 minutes, you know what I mean? Camping out at the hospital, it makes a difference. It does make a difference. You got 3 nurses, and you got nurses aides, you got a whole team in the ICU, and they got 10, 20 patients, and you've got, 5 RNs, and you've got varying different positions coming through at all different times to take lab work, check vitals. The nurse come to do their visit once an hour. You've got the care partner coming through on the half hour. You got the doctor coming through once, maybe twice. You know what I'm saying? Through the evening. And that might not even be the doctor over that particular case. Like, it's constant rotation going on. That's when you get the tea. That's when you get the information. You got to kind of be there through the rotations to know what's going on, for them to tell you and be straight up and down with you what to expect. What else can we do?
After I left, call me. They got a fucking problem picking up the phone and calling me. That's why I said, I don't give a fuck. If I would have just got home, I would have put my motherfucking shoes on and got the fuck back in the car and got the fuck back down there, and I would have spent the night. You don't take that away from me by not calling me, but not giving me the option.
How can they called you, but you didn't pick up the phone, sis?
Of being there if I want to be there. Let me make the call on, I think I can wait till tomorrow. Don't make that fucking call for me. I don't like motherfuckers who do that. I never did. I never will.
Ari,
That's another.
I've seen that so much. People who are just mentally exhausted, especially with a family member who's been through a lot. That's why I kind of use that terminology. You got to soldier on. It is a lot. It's a lot, but it's worth it. It's a lot. So,
Problem. Strike two.
mhm.
Strike three was letting them move her out of the room before I got there. And then when I pressed the issue, I'm like, why did you let them do that? Oh, I don't know. Everything had already happened. And I was, we were trying to tell them to continue to work on her until you got there, until we got in contact with you. You act like, to me, it's just nothing.
Well, no, if they're saying we were trying to ask them to continue to work on her, aside from that, when they called it and said she's dead, there's nothing that we can do. Her pupils are dilated. It's over. Then the question is, can she stay in the room until my sister arrives? So two different situations. They're answering a life sustaining question, and you were asking, why wasn't it asked for mom to stay in the room until I got there? So the answer I just heard was something different than what she was asking, right? Did you guys hear that?
Do that. Oh, I don't
So
know. Everything had already happened. And I was, we were trying to tell them to continue to work on her until you got there, until we got in contact with you. You act like,
no, if they say dead, if they say deceased, she's gone, expired, whatever the terminology they used in the hospital, that was it. The next question is, can she stay in the room until my sister comes? She's on the way.
To me, it's just nothing is acceptable.
They probably said, we'll give you a few minutes. They're trying to call you, Chrissy. You didn't pick up the phone. A few minutes probably turned into an hour or so, and they started taking mom down to the morgue.
They left her 3 hours away. See, maybe it's different policies in different hospitals, but what I'm saying is this: they could have left her there for an hour. I was 30 minutes.
Oh, I can imagine, Danny. I, that's a lot. That's a lot.
They said they had just removed her 10 minutes ago. How dare you? That means you could have waited 40 minutes and I would have been there. 30 minutes, 40 minutes, I'd have been there. And all I need is 5 minutes just to, kiss her, tell her I love her, and say goodbye, Anyway, so I call her back. And my other brother answers the phone. And he's like, oh, well, he's talking to somebody, so I answer the phone for him. And he starts talking shit. Bitch, who the fuck you talking to? And he's just like, oh, well, you knew your mother was on life support. And then he said, you knew she was on life support and you left and you missed it. And that's nobody's fault but your own, and hung up in my motherfucking.
Oops. Okay. I mean, these are the situations that happen. And I know you guys know about this. If it hasn't happened to you and your siblings, your parents and their siblings, girl, some cousins and theirs, baby, these are those words that when the glue is gone, because if mom is the glue, baby, that's the type of dialogue that, baby, it's over. It's gonna be argued. It's gonna be all going at the funeral and all of that. This is, girl. Ooh.
He's like, oh, well, he's talking to somebody, so I answer the phone for him, and he starts talking shit. Bitch, who the fuck you talking to? And he's just like, oh, well, you knew your mother was on life support. And then he said, you knew she was on life support and you left and you missed it. And that's nobody's fault but your own, and hung up in my motherfucking face. I'm the baby, bitch. You're 50. And my mother just died too. Not just yours, you selfish motherfucker. And you gonna pick up the phone in my distraught because my mother was moved.
Girl, she pulled the baby card. She said, I'm the baby and you're 50. Oops. She said, I'm the baby. Chrissy, you gonna leave that alone now, sis. You 35 years old. You got 9 kids. We know you're number 3. But she said, I'm the baby and you're 50. Meaning what? I mean, I'm just trying to figure out why they did not call your husband, allegedly. Why didn't they call your husband, right? Girl, it gets so nasty. It gets so nasty. I can't even say too much about because I never know who's listening, but baby, the siblings, girl, come through like a cool breeze, okay? Okay, we'll call you. The siblings. No one's gonna take care of you like your kids. Now, not to say siblings won't handle the business, but if you want them to handle the business, you better understand when you have auntie and uncle come through and handle the business, they are going to handle the business. So don't come through and try to take over because that's a whole nother cuss out. That's a whole nother cuss out situation. Okay.
Moved and taken to the morgue where I can't see her now, probably till she's in a funeral home or embalmed or some shit. And your response to me is not to handle me with care, is to tell me you knew your mother was on life support. Everybody knew that she could have
Absolutely,
died.
Kelly.
You left and you missed it. That's nobody's fault but your own. Oops. Strike 3, bitch.
Well. She has some that's some words. So strike 1 was you didn't let me know she was in the hospital. What was strike 2? Strike 2, you didn't call me. Okay. Strike 1 was mom was in the hospital since Monday. It's now Thursday, right? Strike 2 was you didn't call me. You called me late. But her phone was dead, right? Her phone, she had let her phone, whatever. And then number 3 is he said them words. He put them words on you.
So he immediately gets cussed out. I'm driving. I pull over. I say, you know what? We can handle this right now. I love you, but you will respect me. That is disrespectful. I don't love nobody that much. So then I call my other brother and I call the phone number back. My phone, the main phone, the brother I was trying to talk to in the first place. I never asked to talk to that brother. He just picked up the fucking phone. Nobody asked to talk to you. If you don't have the wherewithal to have a conversation with me, then get the fuck off the phone. You know, don't be picking up other people's phones. So my other brother picks up the phone again. I said, you know what he just said to me? And he was like, no, what'd he say? So I repeated it. He was like, oh, no, I don't think he meant that. I said, I'm not a child. We're all grown. That nigga meant what he said. And I know it's a high stress situation for everybody. I know everybody's upset. I know everybody's hurt. But bitch, have you lost your motherfucking mind? And he's like,
what planet do you call your brother bitch? Is there anybody in the chat who will admit to such behavior? Where in the world do you throw the bitch word around about your male siblings? Who does that? Maybe don't even I don't even want to know actually. Where in the world, where in the emasculinization of a man, your brother, who you want to have him to have respect for you as a woman, but you're not showing him respect as a man, where you are on your platform, your mother has just gone home to be with the Lord, and you are damn calling him all kinds of bitches. And this is not the first time we've seen this. This is not the first time we've seen her behave in this manner. But this is not cute at all.
Like, oh, you know, and he just starts talking. And he's just like, I'm going to work on getting her put somewhere else. You can see her as much as you want. And it's not the same. It's not the same. And you know that. I said, and what he said to me, he's like, oh, well, I'm sorry that he said that to you. The apology should not come from
Hey,
you.
Verena. Hey, Boo Boo. Hey, everybody coming in.
That's okay. He's like, well, when people die, you know, it pulls families apart and people start fighting. He's like, we need to stick together. Understand. I understand that. I'm not trying to be absolutely ridiculous. What did you think I was coming to the hospital for? To sit in the lobby? If you knew that they moved her, why did you not tell me that before I left the house? Why did you, you know, when I said I was on my way, why didn't you explain to me what it was then? I'm not coming to the hospital to see you motherfuckers. I saw y'all yesterday. I was coming to see my mother. Love y'all.
Everybody is not... Girl.
I'm not coming to talk to y'all.
You know, people don't like to talk about death. They just don't. But at a certain point, and I'm glad this came up today, because I'm just telling you guys from experience, at a certain point, just like you sat there, Chrissy, and you talked to your kids and told them that Granny, that there was, it was possibly the end. You ask them what they wanted. Do you want to be notified right away? Do you want me to wait to tell you when I tell everybody else? That's a conversation you needed to have with your brothers. And they also needed to have phone numbers. Everybody needed to have a phone number chain to know what was going on when and immediately, right? Um that's it. That's all. Like these are conversations. Conversations about what the game plan is isn't for when the game starts. It's before the game. It's before anything happens. It's the group chat you never want to use. It's whatever, however you want to put it. A group chat with you can't even type a message. Guys, I'm at the hospital. I'm on the way. They just called. Voice memo, send. You know what I'm saying? Like, hello, we're in 2025 now. There is so much automation. Make a fucking voice chat. And baby, when you wake up and power up your phone, you might have just missed it. You got a text, you got a voice memo. I tried to call that ratchet husband of yours. I'm trying to call the kids. I mean, come on now.
I want to see my mom. It can permanently divide families, and I understand why. The funeral home, my mom was that allowed us to see her call funeral home. I know it's not the same. And maybe you can get some closure just seeing her. Yeah. The one trust was very hard. She was my granny dad. Oh, I'm sorry for your loss too. They had my mom out until we got to the hospital. How is it right is he right when she has kids at home? He was wrong, point blank. She had to go home and get them settled. Her brothers was there. They absolutely could have left her mom in the room. Yeah, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Everybody on the internet is gonna have an opinion. But I just had to get this out because
I don't think she's wrong necessarily, but you're expecting, a lot of times we expect people to do what we would do, just like when we watch a Jasmine video and sis can't cook, sis doesn't know how to season chicken, she doesn't know how to shop, she buys all kinds of stupid shit, she wastes her money, she got limited funds, all kinds of stuff like that. We can't expect, like, just because we have a good time clowning, at the end of the day, Jasmine might not ever get it. At the end of the day, your brother obviously and clearly did not get it. He called you, he did the best he could. That's why maybe you should have stayed as first call, even though you weren't the closest. Maybe you should have stayed first call on the hospital.
I was so angry that I can't make the hour drive back if I don't release this shit. It's not healthy.
She might be having some regrets about taking herself off first call on the list.
I'll get over it, I guess. I will never forget what they did, but
okay.
I will get over it. And it'll allow me to be able
not
to
having your phone charge.
Come together in whatever fashion that needs to be. But I just won't fuck with y'all. The way people treat me will determine if I fuck with y'all. I'm gonna love you. I'm not required to fuck with you.
She's always had problems with her brothers. I'm just going to say, this is my opinion. She's always had problems with her brothers. And at this point in time, this is your reason. And sis, you don't need a reason, but maybe you feel like you do, and good. This seems to be her reason to go ahead and do what she probably wanted to do anyway. It's giving she doesn't have friends and her family doesn't fuck with her like that. Well, yeah, I think that's I don't know about how many friends ma'am has in Colorado, but what I can say is this is definitely giving a strong need for an outlet, because oops, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just giving she needed to vent, and she came to the internet. Me personally, I don't have a problem with it. But your brother dragging you, baby, he dragged you because he had the bandwidth too. The crazy part is her alleged husband. Girl, where is the husband? Why? You know what I'm saying? My husband talks to my siblings, and I talk to my husband's siblings. Like, I got all their phone numbers, all their, well, there's 2 brothers, 2 sisters. I got all the siblings. Okay. Everybody I need, parents, you know what I'm saying? Vice versa. And then some, right? Everybody's got everybody's number. We even have group chats, right? At the end of the day, okay. Girl. Family part of her family. Girl, the alleged husband, allegedly the alleged husband, right? Verena, we knew, we don't stand on typos over here, girl. It's okay. We knew what you meant. We're not, this is not the spelling. We don't do the grammar and spell check over here. We don't- it's the substance that counts. We've gone through this several times this year with my family. I chose to believe everybody made the best decision they could in order to be at peace. You got to, even if somebody is supposed to show up and they don't, that's on them. You know what I mean? Yeah. I had several conversations with, you know, about that before as well, is that you got to just, you can only do what you can do. Okay? You can't worry about what other people can do and should do and those things. We went through that with my parents. Um period. I mean, she had already crashed. She'd already crashed. You know we love you, Verena. Um She's not gonna be happy at all. At the end of the day, I think Chrissy had just suffered a major loss, and losing mom is, there's no words to it. Losing dad, all of losing someone special, period. It's a, it's a lot. She needs to take a minute and do what she knows would glorify mom. It's time for what would mom do moment, okay? Not take this as an opportunity because mom is not going to be happy. If mom's not going to be happy knowing that the you're fighting with the boys and she trusts you to be the voice of reason, even though you're the baby, you are the one. She saved the best for last, her girl. Then you need to do what mom would want you to do. But yeah, I think she's probably dealing with a lot. She's the loss and the regret and all of the things. So
my eyes are swollen from crying, but I'm not required to fuck with nobody. I'm not required to whatever. I love both of them.
the more that you, so yeah, the more you avoid the family. I have some
shit to talk. They're my brothers. We gonna fall out. We gonna make up. We gonna do. That's how siblings are. My kids fight and they fall out. They hate each other one day. They love each other the next day. That's siblings. That is how it works. But at the same time, we are adults. You know what I'm saying? You should never be that motherfucking whatever to be like, And I told him, I said, listen, I want you to understand. I'm not mad at you because mom died. I knew she was gonna die. I didn't want to believe it. But when I seen her yesterday, when I talked to her a couple days ago, yesterday and a couple days ago, we sat on the phone for 35 minutes. I knew then that was probably one of the last times I was going to talk to her. I recorded it. Something said, record this conversation. I don't even know if I got it. I haven't even checked it. I forgot how to fucking record phone conversations on the phone. But some said,
girl, if you have an iPhone, there's a button at the top of the thing. All you got to do is hit the button now. It says, you are now recording this call. What does the thing say? Anyone with do you guys, that new improvement that they have that you can record a call, but it's going to say this call is now being recorded. This call is now being recorded.
Conversation, because you may never have another conversation like this again.
That's one of the best new features. This call is now being recorded.
I knew it was going to happen. I didn't want to believe it, but I felt like I knew it was going to happen. I knew it yesterday. Especially when they called me and said, unfortunately, your mom's heart stopped. I thought that was the end then. So I'm grateful they were able to bring her back enough for her to hear us, specifically me. They hear, that I love her and that, I was there for her and she wasn't alone. But yeah, that just pissed me off. Let me cool off for a couple of days, for whatever. Overall, I mean, fuck the little shit on the grand scheme of things. My mom is gone, and I'm just happy she gets the rest because I know she was in a lot of pain. I know she was tired. But I know she didn't want to die. Mentally, if her body was healthy, her mental would have held on, She was still very strong mentally, but her body just was tired.
Well, if she wasn't getting air, think of it. How do you get oxygen in your blood to feed your brain and everything else? You have to take in air. If her airflow was shallow, her CPAP was not operating, they wanted to intubate her, all of the things. She hadn't been getting proper oxygen for a minute. If her breathing was shallow, she also had pneumonia, her lungs were compromised. Baby, sis had a lot going on and she needed air. She needed oxygen. And if she's claustrophobic, she didn't want the oxygen, she didn't want to be intubated. The CPAP was problematic. I mean, that's major. She needed oxygen. Everything, Verena. And you got 9 kids in the house. How many phones are in that? They probably got 10 phones in the house. You got 2 adults, 3 teenagers, and a host of children. So you have at least 5 people that should have telephones, right? The 2 adults, the alleged husband, the daughter of the decedent, right? And then you've got 3 teenagers, and I'm sure a host of smart devices, and we don't know how many telephones. The uncles, Unc 1 and Unc 2 did not have Niecy Pooh and Big Neff phone numbers. Go wake up your mother. Nobody had any of the kids' numbers to call and say, wake up your mother. Where's your stepfather? Hey, bro, wake up my sister, please. She's needed at the hospital now.
And so I'm happy she gets to rest now. I'm sad. I'm gonna put all my kids in therapy because I know how.
Girl, that happens so much. I've seen that. Oh, I've seen that so much, not in an evil way, but just exhaustion, kind of like caregiver fatigue, if you will, or just fatigue. They're just, whether they'll verbalize it or not, just fatigue.
I felt when my grandpa passed away when I was like what, 11, 12. I just didn't take it well. Like,
girl, a year ago, she was outside in the dark tripping because the brother hadn't showed up to move the mom in a timely fashion. Right? Let's go back to the time when girl, what was that man's name? Y'all help me. The POF guy who was taking pictures behind her back, the man who got her all over the internet and slayed her on the blow up mattresses. Baby, when that whole thing went down, her mom was in the comments. Her mom was over to the house. When her mom was living with her in Houston, baby, her mom stood up for her. I think it seemed like Chrissy and her mom had a interesting relationship, but her mom was definitely there for her in helping her with those kids. And I'm sure the kids are going to miss mom, and mom probably enjoyed the shenanigans, to a certain point. Obviously, don't want to see your daughter hurting or anything like that, but she was definitely in the midst on some of the drama, and had a cute word or two when Chrissy had something for the YouTube streets. Okay. Her mom, that's a setup. Girl, her mom used to be watching. Okay. When they told her she'll be okay till the morning, or it'll be fine till the morning, that was, to me, that was code for, because the nurse can't really tell you that specifically, but if the doctor says, she may not make it through the morning. I mean, there's only but so much that the machines can do. Once those eyes go dilated, that's pretty much it. So, give me just a second.
I handled it well, but I had a whole bunch of like fear and anxiety after that. It never got resolved, And that's when my anxiety and my panic attacks started after my grandma died. So I put them all in therapy to make sure they get the support they need. They don't know. I did not say anything because, again, today is Juma and Blaze's party. It was her birthday, you know, and I just don't want this. I don't want her death to be attached to their birthday forever, even though, you know, it's around the same time. And they're so small. I don't want to hurt them when they should be happy, celebrating, because they're going to have to hurt at some point anyway, because I'm going to have to tell them. As far as Cadence, Kingston, and Kaya, they're the oldest, and I sat them down the other day, 3 days ago, when I first found out all this shit was going on, and I told them that what was happening. I told them that she was in the hospital. This is before the ventilator. This is before all this stuff. And I told them, I said, you know, I want to let you guys know what's happening because you guys are the oldest. I want you to help. You know, if you see one of the kids needs extra help or something, be patient with them, help them, you know, whatever. Make sure to do your part because, you know, mom's going through a lot and grandma's in the hospital right now. And I also said, you know,
this is my thing. This is some nice advice. Why don't you take the same advice you gave your kids on how to deal with each other and apply that same thing with your siblings? Because that's what your mother would want you to do, right? Hello?
I don't know what's going to happen this time because she's really, really sick. But, you know, I'm going to give you guys the option of knowing right away, or you can wait for, like, if anything happens and she ends up passing, I will tell you guys if you want to know. If you don't want to know until I tell the younger kids, then I will wait until I tell the younger kids. And Kaden said, I want to know. Kingston said, I want to know. Kai said, I don't want to know until absolutely necessary. I said, okay. So, Kingston texted me yesterday. He's like, what's going on? Is she okay? What's happening? I gave him an update when I was at the hospital. And then, what was I going to say? And then this morning, I put on a brave face. The kids were already up, and I said, okay, my hubby stayed at home this time, so he can help, you know, do whatever he can do with the kids. Don't have to worry about calling and none of that. Just stay there, and I'll be back as I told him. So,
who's staying home? She said hubby.
And I said, okay, my hubby stayed at home this time, so he can help me.
My hubby stayed at home this time. Is that even a question? You know how some things happen in life and you already know it's not even a question. It's already on some FMLA or PTO. I can't cut my, you know what I'm saying? He should have been home.
Don't have to worry about calling and none of that. Just stay there and I'll be back as I told him. So,
girl, it's imaginary.
Cadence catches me at the door and she's like, where are you going? I'm like, oh, I gotta go to the hospital for grandma. And she was like, oh, is everything okay? She's the same thing.
Where are you going? This says, look, just my opinion. Okay. Just my opinion. But that says to me, so you told the kids what was going on with mom and you're leaving the house. How is it the kids don't understand? Where are you going? I'm going to the hospital. Hello? Didn't I just tell you?
Happened yesterday, or is it something else that happened? I said, okay, come here. So I bring her in my room and I tell her what happened. She's like, oh, is she really gone? I said, yeah, she's really gone. And she said, are you okay? I said, no, but, you know, I can use a hug. And she hugged me. She said, I love you. I said, I love you too. She said, you gonna be okay? I said, yeah, we're gonna be okay.
They're just used to Chrissy creeping out the house. I'm just gonna say, Mom, where are you going? Where you going, Mom? Didn't she tell you she wanted to know when it happened? Her and Kingston? You asked them, did they want to know? And they said yes. And you're leaving, which, yes, you just found out, but that's your eldest. And you're leaving them in the house allegedly with some strange man who you call husband now. What?
Okay. We gonna be okay. I said, are you okay? She said, I'm gonna be okay. I said, okay. I said, just don't say anything to anybody yet. And not even Kingston or Kaya. I'll talk to them when I get home. And she said,
you told Kingston you would let him know. You're not honoring that's not honoring your word. And I know she's going through a lot because it's her mother, but her mother helped raise these kids. So you know how some people have grandmothers that feel like mom, right? So Kingston and Cadence wanted to know immediately. Cadence catches her being slick walking out the door. and you still not telling.
Okay. So I'm gonna go home
Absolutely.
and
Yeah.
try to rest for a little bit. And their party's not until 5. I'm still gonna, try to vlog it and everything because that's what I was planning on doing. I ended up vlogging.
Girl, when she started saying she was gonna start vlogging again, I was like, baby, if I didn't know that this was real, I would be like, is this real?
Me freaking out yesterday and everything because I was vlogging just vlogging anyway for the boy's birthday and putting that whole thing together. And I don't know how I want to do it because it's kind of mixed in together. I'm gonna have to. I don't want it to be. I don't know. That's neither here nor there. I'm gonna have to separate the sad stuff from the happy stuff if I can. But it's real life shit. It's really what I've been going through. So I don't really know what happens next, but pray for my strength, please. My kids.
If I hear a story about trying to gather a coin for a funeral,
Read some y'all's comments.
I'm assuming the brothers, one of the brothers is 50, so I would assume that they are able to handle what needs to be handled.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, let me okay. Condolences to Strong Mommy Chrissy. Not a great time right now for her and her family. Definitely lots of questions, but hey, girl, what can we say? Very sad set of circumstances, and it's my mom just passed, but I still got to get a bag because my imaginary alleged husband, okay, the physician. Girl, okay, we'll get a few days past this story. I'm sure the content is coming soon. I wanted to touch on Gina. Gina dropped a video of the weekend when Chelsea came through. Baby, a mess. But she skipped a lot, for someone who had so much to say, baby, she skipped a lot, but okay. I mean, I would probably skip over that too in the final edit because I'm sure that was not a good week for them last week, running their mouths and getting dragged. I need to go check, go look at more comments, but yeah, a mess. But yeah, I do feel bad for Strong Mommy Chrissy. When I heard the video this morning, it was definitely some familiar territory because I've been through that myself. Thank God I had older siblings and the baby actually was the superhero. I'm gonna give her a lot of credit right now. The baby of our family, baby, she held it down. She was the closest. At the time, her and her husband and my nephew were living in Brooklyn, and she could be at the house in like 45 minutes. And my brother was like about a hour and a half away. Me, I was 2 hours by plane. And then my other sisters, one was probably 4 hours by plane, and then the other one was a 6.5 hour by plane. So but I, at a certain time, I used to go home like every other weekend. I used to fly home every other weekend. And it was a lot. It was a lot, but I was grateful because she made it through. Um, Most of the time, I'm just gonna say people are not prepared for what that and the cost and the cost and the cost. It's very, very expensive. But I'm grateful. I'm very grateful. So at the end of the day, I'm grateful. Girl, I saw it. I saw the video when it came out. The bald spot. Um, who? Okay, so let's talk about it for a minute. We'll watch the video tomorrow. Who is she? First of all, the only celebrity stylist I saw her with. Which when would Keisha not vlog some? Remember when Cliff did her hair? But did Cliff put any chemicals? I'm not accusing Cliff, so don't take it that way. She said someone with millions and millions of followers, and I know Cliff has a big following. Um, who did her? What celebrity stylist did her hair with millions of following? I know Q is very popular, but she doesn't. I don't know that she has millions of following. Maybe she. I don't know, but it doesn't seem like she mentioned her in her lineup of people that do her hair anymore. Um, that and then who? Okay, it was the Cliff because I immediately was like, "Is she talking about Cliff?" Because girl, when she went over to Cliff's studio, he was like dissing her. He was talking to Q, and that was it. He wasn't even really talking to Shorty Rock like that. Anywho, the $5,000 that needed to be paid, was she paying a settlement or was she paying legal fees? Because girl, I was like, sis, how are you talking? I was confused when she was talking about a troll did something to her and she had to pay $5,000. That was, I was like, okay, they say it's stress and bad hygiene. What? Yeah, I'd seen it. I saw the day it came out, girl. I was like, what? I mean, sometimes I watch the videos when they're dropping, like the little video today. She said they bought some goats, but I don't react to stuff the same day. I try not to, you know. I mean, that's not a rule, so don't hold me by it, but I just, certain situations call for certain measures of action, and I feel like that recipe has worked for me with that particular situation, so I try to avoid um jumping on stuff immediately cuz girl, I don't bother. You know what I'm saying? Like don't send me any more notes from Africa. Girl, don't communicate with me at all. I don't like when the channels reach out to me. Don't contact me. Hold on, let me see. Where's my do not contact me button? Hold on. Wait. Don't email me. If you don't like something I said, it's okay. You do not have permission to talk to me. So yeah, we'll talk about that tomorrow. Okay. Period. Girl, when that girl emailed me from Africa, I was like, "Can I fucking help you? I'm over here minding my business." Yeah. I just don't have time to play. You know what I mean? I don't like to play. I'm for serious out here. I'm definitely not trying, like, I don't like to get caught up in your play. Mm-mm. So, but yeah, I saw the bald spot. I don't know why all of us is alopecia the new that everybody like. I don't get it. Like, you want people to know. I guess it's maybe is that you think that's traction alopecia, or what do you think that is? Baby, the last thing I would be doing is emailing somebody who had some shit to say about me on YouTube when I'm in Cape Town, South Africa. Are you kidding me? I would be trying to hunt down the biggest shrimp, the best fish dish, go on some sort of boat, be on top of a mountain somewhere, meeting the people, looking at the clothes. I would just be immersed in the culture. You know what I'm saying? The last thing I would be doing is emailing somebody from the YouTube streets about some shit they done said about me. If that's how you feel, that's how you feel. Okay? Feel how you feel. That's a mess, right? Unc doesn't have your phone number. How is that? Doesn't Unc send you a little cash app every now and again? Come on now. How's Unc not have your number? And the cousins, I mean, they have Chrissy has so the let me say it like this, girl. The grandmother had like let's say 20 grandkids. If Chrissy has 9 kids, you know what I'm saying? The brothers clearly have children. So those are cousins. So even if Unc didn't have the number, wouldn't you call Boo Boo and say, "What's Caden's phone number? Call Kate, call your cousin and tell her to call her mama to call me ASAP." Or call your auntie. Call Auntie Chris. Tell her Granny needs her now. Get to the hospital ASAP. It's giving nobody's really speaking like that, and the kids aren't, you know what I mean? Word travels fast with the cousins now. Come on. And they get to each other on Instagram, Facebook, Snap, everything, right? TikTok. Oh yeah, she called me. She reached out on TikTok or called me through Instagram or called me through Facebook, WhatsApp or whatever the kids got, right? Hello? Come on now. My dad said, "Wake up. They've been trying to call you. Your phone's going to voicemail. Get up." It doesn't make any sense. Anyway, so yeah, we'll get to Gina. We'll get to what's her damn name? Girl, I want to know who knows anything about the lawsuit. Like, was it a lawsuit? Because we know, okay, let's talk about this for a second. So, the thing with Keisha, right? She said she had to pay $5,000. Now, you had to pay $5,000. I looked in Fulton County, and the person that she was going back and forth with, the lady that she said spit on her floor, do you think it's the lady who came in? She said the son spit on her floor, X, Y, and Z. Do you think she counter claimed and dragged her ass for Keisha dragging her nonstop and accusing her of doing something at an open house, which may or may not have been the case? That's what I was trying to figure out. Because it seemed like, let me tell you something, the way Keisha went on and on and on about the lady. So those of you who don't know, Keisha Kaylee, she's a real estate agent. At a certain point, she was trying to sell her house. She did an open house, had it on the internet. And like I tell you guys all the time, don't bother these people because most of them crazy. Okay. Somebody decided to go for the open house who allegedly was on a certain thread that talks about some of the lots of people on the internet, lots of people. Okay. And Keisha has a thread where people discuss her. Allegedly, somebody from her goon squad just so happened to be trolling the thread and saw that somebody said something and all of a sudden has some information about this alleged incident that occurred. So, of course, was able to get enough information to track someone down to that's what I was thinking. I was thinking it was that, but why is she paying $5,000 when it says that they were both pro se, meaning that they were representing themselves? So it couldn't have been legal fees. I'm wondering if the person who she was messing with, trying to say she was doing something, actually flipped it on her and she ended up having to no, it was another person. The goon squad is that helper, the helper chick. Don't say any names. The helper chick, who keeps finding herself in trouble because when you're a helper type chick, you find yourself, when you are a helping asshole, okay, you gonna find yourself in all kinds of trouble all the time. Okay. The helper Okay? The helper. You know who I'm talking about. The helper. The helper. The person who got mad because I called them the help. Okay? I would be calling the help right now and be like, I need that $5,000 because if it wasn't for you trying to be helpful, going and reading in places that is not for you, it's about you, then you would still have $5,000 and you would not have to be trolling the internet asking people to help you pay cheerleading fees. Okay? Ooh. Okay. I'm going to need you to not run me every bone because running and chasing every bone, girl, 5 bands. 5 bands. That Neiman Marcus bill is like $150 a month. That wasn't even it. It wasn't. I read that settlement. Did I read the settlement to you guys? We talked about that. The Midland credit girl, they settled for she's making monthly payments of like $140. It's not $5,000. Mm-mm. I don't want to get into reading that right now. But it was minuscule. It's not Midland credit. But just to be, let's go read it just in case. But I read that settlement. They sent the settlement agreement to the judge. The judge signed off on it, and she had a payment plan. Midland credit. Is my board about to fall? Ooh. My little dry erase board is wanting to come down. Hold on. The final document signed by the judge. And the magistrate judge signed it. It is hereby ordered and adjudicated the plaintiff have and recover the defendant principal of $999.00. Plaintiff will accept $300 as a full payment of the judgment if paid in full, $25 a month from 12/9/24 on the 29th day of each month thereafter until the settlement is paid in full. So long as the defendant timely makes each payment in accordance herewith, plaintiff agrees to forbear from pursuing any legal proceedings to enforce and satisfy the judgment. Any pending counterclaims will be dismissed. A writ of facias shall be issued if the defendant fails to timely make the payments in accordance herewith. The forbearance shall immediately terminate, and the plaintiff shall be entitled to pursue any and all available legal, equitable remedies to satisfy the judgment in full. So yeah, it's only $4,000, and she's paid a bulk. She paid an upfront of $300, and she's paying $600 out, $25 a month. That's Midland credit. Camino Financial, she's on the hook for about $37,000. So the $5,000 wire payment, I don't see it unless there's something in another county that she is obligated to, but I don't see anything else. There are two yeah, that's it. What was the total? $999.36. It's not $5,000. Hold on. It's a one-page document. This is what it says. The defendant, the plaintiff, and the hereby ordered and adjudicated the plaintiff and recover the defendant principal amount of $995 and $999.35. That's the total amount. Now, fees for the court, the plaintiff paid all of the fees when they filed the lawsuit. So there's no court fees. The court fees were paid up front when they filed their lawsuit. So there's no like fines and restitution. It's not a criminal case. It's a small claims. So up front, Midland Financial paid $60 for their lawsuit. That was it. The court cost is $60 that was paid for by Midland Credit to file the lawsuit. There's no additional fees. That's the signed order from the judge. You can look it up. It's right there. I'll drop the case number. It's on Fulton County, and the documents you can look at. You can look at the final adjudication. Boom. There you go. And Camino Financial is not settled. Girl. And it was more money than that, but it was when Capital One sold the debt to Midland, they brought it down. It was like $3,000. Like she hadn't made payments on that credit card in a minute. It was a lot of late fees and things like that. And when they sold it to the collections company, it was for $1,000. I feel like we went through that. If you guys go back in the videos, we talked about that. I feel like I read the whole entire document to y'all. And then I read the whole Camino Financial one to y'all too. And then what's currently going on with KK, you have to understand the subject of her lies, the subtext. Absolutely. I'm trying to figure out, I think it's something else. I think that lady who she pointed out for doing something, I think probably this is me just talking. I don't know if this is the case or not. So drop my banner. I think that when Keisha had that situation at the house and she sat up there and talked all that inflammatory accusations on the internet about the lady and her kids and tried to press charges on her, coming for her, all of those things. Some people, it's not criminal charges because someone may not know how to behave or someone does something distasteful. We don't know that the boy spit, number one, we don't know that he spit to be malicious in this lady's house. Some people, shit happens. Boys are boys, and I don't know. Not my problem. I just think some of that inflammatory talk may have got that lady filing a lawsuit against her, but I don't see any evidence of that. I don't even understand why she paid $5,000 and to who and for what. Yeah, I don't know. Shoot, it might be in a whole different county, but I don't see anything. Anywho, let me let y'all go. We'll get caught up on we got all week and get caught up. Okay, you guys take care. Have a wonderful day. I love y'all. Okay, see y'all later. Have a good, wonderful day. Again, shouts out to Strong Mommy Chrissy going through it, and she'll be all right.
Walk it like I talk it. 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 Walk it like I talk it.